I keep a lid to help pop these out. It really helps because sometimes your fingers can get stuck, like I just put my finger in Photoshop. This helps you to kind of navigate your palette and move things around. So save one of these. I am here to show you how do you use your compact, how to use your brushes in the most effective way. So let's get started. So to start, I am going to use our detail brush, which is the flat, more flat-ended, and I'm going to place it into our contour. In my case, this is Astoria. And I'm just gonna start to place it on your forehead, on your cheek. And don't be worried, you know, like you could see that I put it on a little bit thick, but you're gonna be placing it underneath your cheekbone and pulling it up. This is the look in order to get this shape. That's what we're going for here, is to get that contour shape on your cheek. Okay? It doesn't have to be complicated. See, even when it's thick or it feels like it's a lot, everything is going to blend out. So you really cannot make a mistake with this makeup, which is comforting to know because when you first start contouring, it can be a little bit scary, quite honestly, to be putting dark spots on your face because we're not really taught, or, you know, contouring wasn't really a thing when I was learning to do makeup in the first place. So this is almost counterintuitive to what you're used to doing with your makeup. But that's the exciting part at the same time, is to try new things and realize that you don't need to be afraid of your makeup. Play around and look, that really dark stripe that was there is virtually gone with just blending it out. Okay? And I'm going to be doing underneath. This allows you to kind of sharpen your jawline. And I normally like to draw this part, but if you have kind of a double chin, which mine's merging there, you may want to put your contour more on the sides and here, and you want to blend down into your neck. But I would put it also, I blend it back behind my ear as well, so it's almost a seamless look. And one of the tricks they tell you is you can kind of go on either side of your esophagus to pull down any kind of darker color, because that's naturally somewhere where shadow would be more pronounced. Now I'm going to use the other side of the detail hack brush, which you could use underneath your lip as well. And I am going to contour just a little bit around my eyes. But if you have more deep set eyes, you probably do not want to contour around your eyes because you want to be brightening your eyes if they're more deep set. Okay. And we just blend this out, super simple. And with your contour, I normally, my staples that I always do is the 3-point, which is forehead, cheekbones, and underneath here. And then like underneath my nose, underneath my lip, that's kind of bonus. And depending on kind of what my eye look is going to be, I could not do the contour around my eyes as well. So you can speed up this application or make it more detailed depending on how much time you have or what you're doing your makeup for. And the last place that I contour, and I just paw a little bit at the contour and just the slightest bit, I'm gonna contour my nose here. You can help it kind of go here. You want this application on your nose to be extremely subtle, not a lot, but just the slightest bit. Just the hint, basically. Now I'm going to do some color correcting before I go into my highlights. And I'm just using the back of the detail brush again, and I am using one of our lightest contours, Aspen, which has a base of green, which is what helps cancel out any of that redness that you see. And I use this as just kind of very lightly. I want to neutralize that color before I'm going to put my highlight on. Around my nose. And I also use my camo color that I use in my highlights is June, which also has a undertone of green to it, which helps with redness. So I kind of have a two-color approach to kind of cut the redness out of my skin. I also have a little bit of melasma here that I am going to color correct with one of our other highlight colors called Mango. It's my darkest color. And I'm going to use the smaller end of the blend brush, and I'm just going to tap this brush with a little bit, and I'm going to kind of go over those areas that I had used Aspen on originally to kind of neutralize. This is also going to give it that final step of coverage that is matching my skin tone versus canceling it out. So you can see here, it works with barely any makeup. Isn't that pretty incredible? Pop of color highlight, which I am going to apply today with the multitasker brush just because it allows you to kind of place it in very specific areas, but you can use your finger. It works just as well. Just make sure your hands are clean. But in my case with my skin, I want to be keeping it as sanitary as possible just to be helping with my skin recovery. And these are the natural highlight points that you want to be making. Right here, where you put your contour, there was an empty spot that we didn't cover here. It was kind of like the bronze, or the contour was here, but you had a lightness here. So we're kind of making that lightness brighter. Okay. And now I'm going to use the blend brush, and I'm going to use the smaller end to kind of just dab this in. I kind of do like a stippling approach, especially around your eye, your lower eye. You don't really want to be pulling that skin too much. You want to be very light. I'm just going to blend up and out, up and out. Here we go.
Hey. 1, 2, 2.
And you can see immediately the effect of that brightness and how where we get the name 3D foundation is you really do see the dimensions of this makeup come out with very little makeup, which is what I love best. And also that it's all in one compact. And I'm just gonna blend this out. Okay, now I'm going to use the bridge color, which is my middle highlight. And I'm just gonna, with the bigger end of the blend brush, tap it in slightly. And kind of bridge this coloring between my nose and the highlight, the pop of highlight that we just used, and the contour, which is here. And as you can see, I'm not placing my highlight where I already have my contour. I'm just gonna put it a little bit on the edge of my mouth, but here I'm leaving this open. I haven't put anything here yet. Okay. Final step is my camo color again. And I am going to just place that right underneath that contour, which allows the contour to really pop in just the right place. And this camo color, you want it to be matching your neck. You don't want to have a huge difference between your neck color. The goal is to keep this very consistent. So you're bringing out the features, but you're also allowing that color to match down your face. Now, in some cases, you can actually do, if you're lighter, like in winter, for right now, I am a little bit lighter on my neck. So I'm gonna put that pop of color over top of that camo color, but above the contour that I placed. And I'm just gonna blend this out to kind of highlight just the bottom of my jaw that's closer to my neck so it matches my neck color. So in winter or in summer I wouldn't necessarily do that, but today and with the lightness of my skin, I want to make sure that it matches my neck. So you can see these are all the tricks that you can play with this makeup. Now I'm going to use my blush brush and I'm just going to run it over slightly, not very heavy. I'm not pressing very hard. And I'm going to be lightly putting it, mirroring it where my contour. And this just kind of gives you this soft glow where you already have your contour. But it also gives you a nice color. And I know that we don't have sun, especially where I am in Western PA. But that doesn't mean that I can't bring the sun out in my own makeup. So that is a world of a difference from where we started, I must say. I can see I want to put a little highlight color here, and I'm going to bridge here with my middle highlight, and you can see I have kind of a line here, but no worries, because I'm going to use my blush brush and blend it in. Use this to just blend my Cupid's bow, but I wanted to kind of highlight, bring this forward to make your lip, without surgery, just a little bit poutier. Doesn't that look fantastic? And there's not a lot of makeup on my skin, but it really makes such a difference. Gives you warmth, it gives you shape, and it gives you brightness. And that's exactly what we're looking for with this makeup. Blush. And I loved our blend brush. I would recommend even getting 2 of these. This is one of the brushes that I would double up on if once you get comfortable with your makeup, because I think that this end of it is really nice to apply your blush with. But another way that I use it, so you can see how light it goes on here, and I put the placement of my blush, they say, on the apple of your cheek, but I also pull it up a little bit onto the cheekbone. So I want that color to pull up my face. The other brush that I would use if you have a blush brush is I would use the back of the blush. This is a little bit more of a denser brush, but I just stipple it on. So you can pull it back and stipple it on in that way. And I am using Frenchie, which is a color correct if you have dark circles, but I love it as a blush. I think that corals and oranges are not a natural blush that you would gravitate to. You normally go to like reds or pinks or earthier colors, but I think really is a nice color that makes light eyes pop, and it even works with darker brown eyes as well. And then my final step is I'm going to use our highlight, and you can see immediately the iridescent, and I like to put this right in this area specifically for my smile lines. Kind of helps to camouflage those. I put it underneath my eyebrow, inside the crease. And because this is softer, I kind of always apply the highlight with a finger. At least the cream ones. We have, this is also one of our highlights, but it is, it's Photoshop, I believe. And it is a powder base, which I love to use as an eyeshadow as well. And I'm gonna just tap the bridge of my nose, do Cupid's bow again. And then if you're doing like a day look that's really light, I even just put the highlight right over my eye to just give it that shimmer. This is, I'm gonna do an everyday eye with this look. And as I had shown you before, I put the contour on below. we go. You can see the iridescentness that my skin has. It's kind of that glowiness. Okay. I am going to put a little bit of brightness on my lips. Just to give it some hydration. This is one of our glossy lip and cheeks. And I'm going to use a little bit of Frenchie with Hopelessly Devoted. My lips are chronically dry, so I have a hard time wearing just the matte lip and cheek in my case. I like to add a gloss. It needs a gloss in order to not look too dry. Our eyeshadow everything brush, and I'm going to use our highlight Photoshop, and I'm just going to set that highlight that I put on. Since it's a cream, if I use any of our lip and cheeks, which I love to use the lip and cheeks as a cream eyeshadow, I think that's one of the benefits of this makeup, is that you should play around and put things. They're all multi-use. So it's just about getting comfortable with that multi-use and trying new things. But if I do use one of our creams or glosses, I even use a gloss on the eyeshadow. It's not as pigmented, but the matte ones, especially Frenchie, is really nice on your eyes, especially if you have blue eyes or hazel eyes. It's really nice. I like to use a powder that kind of sets it, so I normally use a shimmer to do that. So that is kind of an everyday eye that I would use. And my final step, which depending on your brows, this is our eyebrow brush. I gotta give my brows some attention here, give them a brush and placement. We also have an eyebrow wax, which is really nice to keep your eyebrows in place. And then I'm going to use our eyeshadow. I use Oak, but one of the things that you want to keep in mind when you're doing your brows is that you want to use a lighter color than what your brow color actually is. Which seems counterintuitive. You'd think that you'd want to match it exactly, but that kind of gives you that painted on look. You want it to be a shade or two lighter than what your brows actually are, so you can blend it. And I like to use the brush again afterwards and set it with the brow wax. Just looks more polished and set. Now I'll do my mascara. My sister recommended this Lancome Idol Lash. She got it for me for Christmas, and I highly recommend this product. It's really nice. It goes on so light, but it separates your lashes and feels really defining. And I have a lot of girls that ask me whether to do their bottom lash or not. Here is the difference. This eye has my bottom lashes done, and I do have longer bottom lashes. So I think a lot of people are concerned about getting the black marks underneath your eye if you do that. And honestly, I feel like it's to each their own. I think that you can make it more dramatic by doing your bottom lashes, but you can also not do them and have them be just as beautiful. So it's preferred preference, but here is what the both looks like. I think that if you have felt like there's a general rule to never do this, don't go with any general rules. I think play with your makeup, expand what you think you're used to doing, because that's kind of the point of learning and doing different things. And my final step is to use setting spray. And my makeup is done for the day. I also wanted to say that you can apply different things. So instead of doing Frenchie on your cheeks, you could do Hopelessly Devoted. You can do Photoshop, which is if you have a powder highlight, you can do that. It's kind of learning to play around and not be scared. You can even just use your blush and bronzer. If you wanted to have more of the earthy tone, you don't even need to bring this pop of color in. You can keep it more neutral. There are so many different ways to do your makeup, and I am encouraging you to play around. Don't be scared to try different things, different places. Now, I wouldn't recommend putting Frenchie in your eyebrow, but I think that you have the knowledge of where things generally can go, what has color, what doesn't have color, and learning to use that brightness and darkness to, you know, make your face look more polished even to you, because that's the point, is for you to look in the mirror and feel like you see your best self looking back at you. That's the point here. So congratulations on doing your makeup. I'm excited to do more of your makeup with you, but this is kind of a general overview of how to use the compacts that you just got. Thank you.